This program is brought to you in association with
सफाई ठंडे पानी में भी।
अब तो मैं भी मान गई एरियल एंजीमैक्स की कामयाबी। Eid Mubarak and welcome to A Taste of Fusion. Today on the menu I have a fabulous mutton karahi fusion piece for you. Following that with a fillet of beef and all these different ingredients coming together. And then my own take on chicken paella or chicken biryani. You choose which. And for dessert, our very own Eid special sevaiyas with a twist. Now for all my cooking, I went the other day to pick up my goat. That was a lot of fun. So now without further ado, let's get cooking. Eid Mubarak once again and welcome to a carnivorous taste of fusion where we are starting off with mutton. So, into about 1 kg of mutton, I'm throwing in 1 teaspoon of red chili powder, sort of flake it on liberally. Then we throw in about half a teaspoon of turmeric, half a teaspoon of thyme, and about 1.5 teaspoons of salt, level. So, what I'm going to do today is take a fusion piece. I'm going to merge different flavors together using Mediterranean, Italian flavors, and of course bringing in our own mutton karahi onto the table and serving it up in a very delicious fusion way. So with all this there, take my spoon, mix it up, make sure everything is coated liberally because we're going to do everything topsy-turvy. So there we have it. Put your mutton to the side. Now what do you need, which is the extra fusion element to this dish? I'm putting in some grapefruit juice, which is going to be delicious, some lemon, some tomatoes. I'm keeping my onions halved. I'm throwing in basil, which I'm just going to roughly chop up for you. Now keep it simple. Don't try and spice your dish or overpower your dish with all these different flavors. Just a handful of basil. And into this, we're going to put in about 3 cloves of garlic, but we're going to keep them whole. A little imli or tamarind, which I've soaked in water, and we are ready to cook. Get your pan onto a high heat, and into this goes a fair deal of olive oil. Make sure there's enough olive oil coating the bottom evenly. I would say about 6 tablespoons. Now, in goes the meat. It's already quite hot, so be careful. Nothing spits up at you. Now remember, this is going to take a while to cook, so get this on first before you do anything else. Ooh, nice, lovely spitting action happening there. Karahi traditionally has, all these different chilies. It has chilies, it has ginger, garlic. But I thought, why not try to make this Mediterranean karahi? That should be fun. Okay. Turn your meat around. Delicious. Make sure it's browned evenly on all sides because you want, the meat to sort of seal in all the flavors so then it can cook at its own ease, releasing its own juices. Very, very delicious. There we go. So now I'm ready to put in all my other items. I'm throwing in about 5 tomatoes that I've just halved with 3 pods of garlic. Now I had sliced up 1 red onion, which I'm just throwing in the slices right now. I've kept 1.5 onion whole, or actually just halved them because I want them to sort of break down in there like a stew almost, giving a sweetness to this lovely karahi dish. In goes our basil right now. And at this moment, I'm going to pour in the juice of half a grapefruit and the juice of half a lemon. Stir it around. See, with the grapefruit and the lemon going in, it's going to break down the turmeric and the red chili, so you're not going to get that very desi sort of flavoring to this. What's going to happen is it's going to evolve. The flavors are going to become sweeter, the chili is more chili, the salt is going to balance everything out, and we get this lovely aroma coming together. Now, with my spoon and being careful not to throw in the pips, I'm just going to take some of this imli water, the tamarind water, and put that in. And about 4 tablespoons right now because I want to add a little bit in later on to keep the meat cooking. And now for my secret ingredient that's going to go in and make my fusion karahi amazing. You think this is water, but this is not water. This is actually the juice of coconut or coconut milk from fresh coconuts that you pick up at any store. 1 whole glass of coconut water goes straight in. Into this, just at the end, before you put the lid on, put in about 200 milliliters of water, just to ensure that your meat is nicely covered. There we go. Pop your lid on and get cleaned up to get on with your next dish. This has to cook for about an hour and a half on a medium-high flame. Keep adjusting the flame so that your meat doesn't burn. And that's it. We're ready to get started with our second main dish. Right, so for my next dish, I decided to make beef. Now, undercut. What I'm going to do with this beef, because sometimes, you don't know how to serve it, this being the undercut, I'm not going to make little fillets of it. I'm not going to chop it up. What I'm going to do is take this bit, I'm going to start making a little incision through my fillet. Now, this is the most tender part of the undercut. Make sure you don't go all the way through. Just open it up slightly with your knife, as slightly as you can, without cutting through. There we go. You get your meat masher and start bashing it out. Now use the other side, which is a bit harder. Don't use that too much because it'll break your meat. Just sort of, make little indents in it. We're going to take a little red chili powder, about 1 teaspoon, and flake it on. Go evenly, of course. About a teaspoon of salt. Good. I'm going to use a little olive oil right now and pour it on the inside because I want all of this sort of to merge down with the meat rather than fall off. Now, just move your fillet into your baking dish. It's just there to rest. We're not done with it yet. Take some spring onions, about, 3 or 4 large spring onions, as much as you want. Cut them in half. And long strips. Not your regular side strip, but long strips of the spring onion. Take your spring onion and just sort of layer it in. Now, into this, I'm just sort of sprinkling it, not even throwing, just a layer of cashews in the middle. A little crunch, and bringing some dry fruit into your meat. That's real fusion, just plain salted cashews. A little parsley, again, just a handful. Now, that would amount to about 2 tablespoons of chopped parsley. But again, just to give a different color, flavor, layered in the middle. On top of this, I'm going to just dash in, or just pop in a dash of red wine vinegar. And just, to add that little element of bringing in what, we use in our desi food, I'm going to throw in some dried plums or aloo bukharas on the side. But I'm not done with my meat yet, so now for the final step. And what is usually very difficult. Take your meat and bring it together almost like if it were coming back to its original form, and using a little, skewering stick, go through your meat. There we are. Flake. Use a little stick. What this will do is help keep it all together. It's like stitching. I'm stitching the dish together. Onto this, I'm going to throw on about half a teaspoon of garam masala. I don't want to overpower the meat too much, so it's just on the outside and not too much. Less than a quarter teaspoon of salt. At the end, olive oil, liberally. Get your hands and rub the spice and the salt and the olive oil together so it's evenly coated across your fillet. Don't forget the bottom. and be a bit gentle. After all, you are going to have something that's phenomenal coming out of the oven in less than half an hour. Now, preheated oven, 180 degrees. Just put your fillet straight in for a good 25 minutes, and I'll show you what to do with it after that. And there we have it. We've got our mutton on, we've got our beef in the oven. All we have left are our two main courses, and I'll throw in a couple of yummy appetizers when we come back after the break. Before I get started on my paella dish or my chicken biryani dish, I'm going to check on how my mutton is doing. As you can see, the water has almost evaporated, and I think my meat's almost done because it's sort of coming apart when I push the spoon down on it. But I think I'm going to add in about 200 mils more, or as much as you think that you need your meat to become tender with, and just let it continue cooking, but we're almost done with this. And now for our beef. I've got a little skewer in my hand, and my beef's been in the oven for about 25 to 30 minutes. Just poking the skewer in, and it goes in absolutely cleanly and comes out cleanly, which means it's done to a lovely medium, sort of medium to well done. And because I don't know how my guests eat it, whether they eat it rare or medium rare, I'm keeping everything a medium. So just turn your oven off. And that's it. Your beef's done, your mutton's almost ready, and now for our third main course, which is, of course, chicken. Now, chicken paella is not really the way that you serve paella, which is a Spanish dish. Usually it has a lot of seafood in it. But because I think, you should vary things up, I make mine with chicken sometimes. But today, I'm going to try and fuse it with chicken biryani. So for this, I have chicken. Now, my fusion elements, what am I going to do? I'm going to take some dates. Eid. Well, this Eid is not synonymous with dates, but I think dates are overlooked and they should be used in savory cooking a lot more. So what I'm going to do is roughly take the seed out, just keep the date intact. I would say get about 6 dates, keeping the skins intact so they'll break down whilst cooking. But the loveliness of this is that it's going to give you this chutney-esque sort of fruity flavor to this rice dish. I'm going to throw in pomegranate. We know I love using fruit and everything, so today I'm using 2 different types of fruit. I've got some pomegranate and some dates. And then instead of potatoes, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to use sweet potato that I've chopped up and some ginger, which I'm sort of keeping in these lovely flat slices because they'll also act as a fruit in my rice dish. And some lemon, about 1.5 lemons there. My spices that I'm using today are red chili powder, a little turmeric, salt, and a secret ingredient, which is tea. Now, I'm using tea instead of saffron because I think it's going to infuse flavor through my dish and give it that sort of distinctive coloring that I need. So got that, got my chicken, and I'm ready to get cooking. Shift your mutton across and put your big wok onto the big flame. Medium-high flame. Throw in about 1/2 cup of olive oil. As your oil gets hot, in goes 1.5 teaspoons of red chili. Fry your red chili a little bit, and then in goes your chicken, straight into the red chili olive oil. I've kept the chicken whole because biryani or paella always has meat on the bone, unless it's seafood, of course. Fry it up. Once all the chicken is nicely coated with the chili and the olive oil, throw in 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric powder. As the turmeric has also started frying and is coated evenly throughout your chicken, add in 2 teaspoons of salt, level. Just when you really start smelling the turmeric beginning to roast and fry, that's when you throw in the dates, straight in, slices of ginger and the sweet potato. Then to this, we're going to just throw in a dash of red wine vinegar, not too much. 200 mils of water around the side, so you pick up all the spice that is stuck there. Juice of 1.5 lemon. Keep stirring this up. What you need to do now is add in a little bit more water. For the moment, your chicken is done. Now when this water comes to a boil, you want it all to evaporate out, so I'm not putting a lid on it because I want it to become quite dry. I want it to become a paste almost to mix in with my rice, which I'll show you later on. But in the meantime, let's take a look. I think our mutton is done. All the spices are sticking to the bottom and those lovely aromas are coming together and it's falling off the bone. So our dish number 1 is finished. Let's turn the heat off on that and let this cook. Now on to dessert. What do I have for dessert today? Well, I've got savagnin, which I've chopped up. I've got some cream, some butter, sugar, almonds, some flour and some milk. So without further ado, nice little flame under my big pot. There we go. Okay. Now into this, I'm going to throw in about 200 grams of butter. Melting up. Your flame's a little low because you don't want your butter to melt or become brown. Stir it up and straight into my pan I'm going to throw in about 4 heaped tablespoons of flour, maida, white flour. It's stirring nicely. You can smell the flour beginning to start cooking. It takes about 2 minutes max because you don't want it to become brown, you want to keep it white. Now I'm going to add in milk as I know my flour is sort of slightly getting brown now. Pour in milk very, very slowly. Keep stirring till everything gets dissolved. It's a bit like making risotto. It'll become stodgy. That means it'll become quite solid. Almost added in a whole liter of milk. And in goes an entire liter of milk. So that's in. Now it's become a bit creamy. What I'm going to do is take a good cup of cream, double cream, and put it straight in. Now with your cream in and nicely mixed up, we're going to throw in about 6 heaped tablespoons of sugar. Now you keep stirring this till your sugar is completely melted. Now we're going to throw in just a little bit more butter to loosen everything up. Now into this, I'm just throwing in some almonds that I chopped up finely and some whole almonds to give it a different sort of, different textures going on. In they go. A couple of handfuls worth. Mixing it up. And of course, the savagnin, the secret ingredient of this dish. Now I've just taken savagnin, uncooked savagnin, chopped them up because I want to use them like sort of little crunchy bits in this. Some bits are going to get soggy, some are going to remain crunchy, and it's going to be lovely. That's it. Our dessert is done. It's cooked enough. The flour is sticking to the bottom. Our savagnins are in there. Almonds are in there. We are ready to turn this into a dish. So I'm just going to turn the heat off. And into this, I'm going to put in about 1.5 teaspoons of gelatin powder because I want it to set very quickly. It will take its time in the fridge, about 4 to 6 hours, but with 1.5 teaspoons of gelatin, it'll only take you maximum half an hour, which is great when you have guests coming. Now, just put this in and quickly start stirring because you don't want the gelatin to become bubbly. There we go. Okay. Right, so our dessert is done. And bring this to the side because it's very, very hot. For this, we have this lovely little baking dish. Just pour it straight in. There we go. Get a little of those savagnins, sprinkle them around, give a little crunch, some of those almond shavings. Right, so we're done with dessert and it looks delicious. So all you have to do now is get this into the fridge, and when your guests arrive, take it out and serve it to them. And hopefully they'll love it. Join me after the break as I'll plate up everything and show you my gorgeous little appetizers which will wow you on a taste of fusion. So my chicken's been bubbling away and now it's almost done. I just have to do 2 more things to it. Keeping the flame on, I've got some rice that I just parboiled earlier. This is about 4 cups of rice. I'm going to put in about half of this. Straight into my dish. In it goes, soaking up all those flavors. You want all those flavors to be captured right there. Onto this, I'm going to throw on a little green tea. What this will do is once all those flavors come up, all those juices come up, it'll give its own flavoring, this light, delicate aroma all the way through the rice and a lovely light green coloring. And of course, pomegranate, juicy ruby red. Not too much though. Mix everything in, shake it a little bit, make sure your rice doesn't break. Turn everything in and out. Look at that. Everything is well coated. Let the steam rise up. Keep your heat on high. And off. And just cover the dish with a cloth. Lovely. That's ready. It's just going to stay there, retain its heat, and be ready for us to plate up, which will be next. Now, I'm just going to move this to the side and get started with my 2 appetizers, which I want to wow my guests with. For this, I'm going to use liver and kidneys because I think you should use every type of meat or everything that comes from the animals that you sacrifice. So, for my kidneys, chop them up. Rough chop. Don't need to be too delicate. It's going to cook down and you want it not to be too bite-sized because the kidney will then become quite tough when you fry it. Okay, kidneys are done. Pop them back in their bowl. Now into my kidneys, I'm going to put in a little butter, some walnuts because I think it's going to give a lot of dimension to this because I'm serving these kidneys to you on fried toast. How delicious. And of course, let's not forget a little salt. All right. Now, about 2 tablespoons of butter straight in. As the butter is melting, throw the kidneys straight in. Don't wait. Just as the butter starts frying the kidneys, get your walnuts and throw them in because you want the walnuts to actually act as a sponge and soak in all those different flavors as well. Buttery walnut kidneys. Delicious. Here we go. Into this, just 2 pinches of salt, just a dash of vinegar, right, so these are almost done. Now, just as the juices start running and the kidneys have sort of like shrunk half in their size, I know that they're almost done. I'm going to add in some grapefruit juice. 1 large segment of grapefruit straight in, and that's it. All the juices are fused together. The kidneys are really tender and delicious. Our kidneys are done. Now for step number 2. Okay. Now into your large pan, again, pop in about 100 grams of butter or about a 1/4 pack. Straight in. Just melt it all down. Take your toast, plunk it straight into your frying pan. So just a little pinch of salt into your buttery frying pan. And make sure that they become golden brown on both sides. Right, so your toasts are ready. nice and golden brown, grab a plate with a paper towel. Just put them on there so they soak up all that excess butter. There we go. This is ready to plate up, but we have one last appetizer to make. For the final dish, liver. And take the liver off as per the vein going through it. Make sure that you cut out this bit, which is actually the artery. Nice even mouthfuls. Bit large ones actually as well, because I'm a bit of a glutton, but hey, it's fun. It's Eid. It's, you know, all about eating lots of food. Okay. So, our liver's chopped up. 1 pot of garlic. Just gonna chop it up really rough, very quickly. So 1 pot of garlic, roughly chopped. Just pop it straight onto your liver. 1 onion finely sliced up. Into this, I'm gonna throw in some cashews. I'm gonna use some basil and a little cream. And of course, salt. High heat. Olive oil. A couple of good lugs and throw in everything together. Add in your salt immediately, about 2 large pinches. And then of course your salted cashew nuts. Straight in, 1 lovely handful. Again, because you want to fry them with the liver and let them take in all that flavor. There we go, that's enough. I'm going to throw in a dash of like red wine vinegar because I simply just want to give something, you know, acidic to it. There we go. We're almost there. A handful of basil leaves. Rip them straight in there. And I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of double cream. And we are done. Turn the heat off, your liver's ready, and it's time to plate up everything. Okay, so we're plating up. First, with our mutton. Oh, it's so delicious. All the juices have come out. Everything has just cooked perfectly, and we have this gorgeous, gorgeous sort of golden, sort of turmeric-y color going on there. Lovely little fusion mutton karahi. A little parsley. Just give it a little diversity of color. Off to the side. That's perfect. Our filet roast pocket is done. Look at that. Because what I want to do is cut it. I'm just going to keep nice little slices so it's easy for my guests to cut through. And as you can see, that is what I had been aiming for, and that's what I've got. Delicious. Our rice dish. Voila! Look at that. And it's time to plate up our rice dish. There we have it. All right, so we're done with this. You just clean up your plate, add a little basil onto this because it will help with the flavor, and you are ready. Well, actually, I am ready to go out and wait for my guests and enjoy this scrumptious meal. Right, so let's hope dessert has turned out well. Almost like a lovely mithai. Eid Mubarak, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me. Now, before everything gets completely frozen, let's eat. So please come to the table.
In the spirit of Eid, I have to give you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
I got bangles.
They're so pretty. I'm wearing them right now. Chale ji.
And I'm very hungry, you know, so I'm surely going to really like devour this food.
Fantastic.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh my God. What a spread. What is all this?
Well, we have our two little funky entrees here. We've got kidney on toast. Then we have some liver.
And you garnished it with pomegranate, which looks so pretty.
I always think the lovely, juicy red rubies of the pomegranate are fantastic.
Beautiful, Nadia.
Thank you very
Chan.
much.
Poppy, you're going to eat.
Of course I will, Jenny.
I'm really hungry.
Can I offer you?
The weather's become a bit nippy, so
Gorgeous the weather. Lovely to eat out. What a good idea to have.
thank you so much.
This is wonderful. It's so innovative, really. And are we going to be gluttonous and take the whole thing? No.
Absolutely, we can do anything we want.
We can?
Gee, you can even have mine if you'd like. Okay. I'm ready to give it to you.
Wow, it looks wonderful.
Yes. Oh, can't
Lovely.
wait to taste this.
I'm so happy you could come and share this with me. You know, it just...
But it looks wonderful, and if it's not nice on camera, can I say it's not nice, or will you kill me?
Okay, Chan, you can, if you want, you can,
If we can blast
flog
it,
me in the
if we
corner.
want, we can blast it.
Huh, absolutely.
Achha. On that deal, I did.
Absolutely.
I'll have the beef later.
Huh. But I'm going to pinch a cashew.
Absolutely.
You've roasted the cashews. Wonderful.
Oh, I want the aloo bukhara.
You want the aloo bukhara?
Yes. From there. Oh, that's part of that.
No, so grab it.
I'll have it with the beef only.
Really?
Fantastic.
But
Wow.
I'm going to use my fingers.
Ji, bilkul. Absolutely.
Wow. This is really
Made the liver on toast.
Fabulous.
Kidney.
Kidneys on toast.
Wonderful thing. For us, wonderful.
This is the cholesterol special. Yeah?
Eid, you've got to eat. You have, an abundance of everything, and for one day, say it.
Yeah.
Let it go.
I agree with you.
Enjoy
You can't-
everything.
You
for me actually.
no, but you can't be worrying about all these things all the time.
But I must say, you're very innovative and clever with this.
So, Uncle Chand, is the food, is it as good looking as
It absolutely passes muster. And as a third generation cook, because remember we've eaten your grandmother's food,
Ji,
which is
bilkul.
spectacular, and your mother's, which is quite memorable.
Ji.
I think that you do your
Thank you
you do
so
your
much.
culinary heritage justice.
Shuni, thank you so much. And I am, in fact, I think I'm the happiest person this Eid, and Auntie Chuni's made me I'm ecstatic. What more can I say? I could not ask for anything.
Amazing. Actually, this mutton is really tender of the kadhai,
Well,
which is great. Because I hate to pull meat out and when it's like also...
No, you're meant to enjoy your food. Your food's not meant to be an exercise. You're meant to sort of, lay back and say, okay, fine, indulge me. Rather than, oh, the meat is not coming off the bone. So you've just got to cook it the right amount. And I enjoy cooking my mutton for a long period of time.
It's not khatta. I mean, you don't taste the imli.
Because I put in time.
Time.
And time evolves completely.
It's very powerful.
Ji.
Oh, I can't bear it when I've slaved over a hot stove and people don't eat.
Absolutely, absolutely. But now I think I am going to bring the beef to you.
Yes.
There we go.
Wow.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And here we have some knives.
Does he need carving?
Neji, I've made small sort of slices. Well, sort of small slices.
Eats, I remember, कि lunch पे वो कुर्बानी वाले गोश्त के टिक्के खा रहे होते हैं, वो चू करते जाते हैं, you can't swallow them. So you take it out.
Under the table.
under the table. or buried under the rice.
वो कभी भी नहीं गलते थे और हमेशा 3 बजे के बाद खाना मिलता था लेकिन फिर भी वो गलते नहीं.
Cool, I agree. It's, But I think that I'm very happy, and I hope that I have.
It's amazing. It's really, really fantastic.
I have been saved from a flogging and a beating in the corner. Very happy.
It's wonderful.
Thank you
It's
so
really
much.
wonderful. You've really done us proud, and it's a lovely, lovely treat for you.
Auntie Chani, you just have to wait. Abhi to it's not over. It's not over. We have the pièce de résistance, or my misadventure or my folly, whichever one I want to call it, but Savayan.
Actually, it's not heavy at all. I mean, rather than eating the, you know, like the oil-laden, the typical nihari or the karahi and everything, this is fantastic. And there is absolutely, and in fact, no oil, excess oil in any of the foods.
Not at all. Not at all. And it's pretty much olive oil that I use. Yes, of course.
Lovely to have an Eid dinner which is not full of ghee and meaty. And
So they leave room for dessert.
absolutely.
Dessert in seconds, you know.
Now we're waiting with bated breath
Oh,
for dessert.
well, if you excuse me for one moment, I shall go and I shall get dessert fusing for you. It's actually a pleasure to see someone enjoying the food and someone as sylph-like and looking absolutely fabulous, I might add, today. Eating it.
Before.
Well, before.
Now
You
you have to
and
do
Eddie.
skinny portions.
Hi, this is actually looking a little melted because it's been out of the fridge for a while, because I thought, let me,
So what's in the Thai? A lot of
well,
khoya shoya.
no, I'll tell you what, you have a bite and, sorry, you have a bite and you tell me what you think and then I'll tell you what's in there. Lest I scare everyone beforehand.
Because actually there seems to be a lot of khoya and that condensed milk.
No. No.
Let me take a taste of it.
Bread. No.
Shahi tukra.
No.
Anda.
No.
It's anda. Dana, तुम बताओ क्या है?
It's like coconut.
Coconut.
There is a fruit.
There is a fruit, but it's not coconut. No, actually there's not a fruit, but there's a...
Whatever it is,
It's delicious.
divine.
Thank you!
Wow. I mean, so many,
Oh my God.
so many, like, you know, we've
I
One
know.
hour.
much input. We've not, yeah,
Such surprising ingredients.
and yet
Or-
nothing.
That little, that flavor that you think that's fruit is actually the Savayan there. Which has turned into, which has become milky and sweet and sort of dissecting itself. There's almond in there, there's Savayan in there, there's milk in there, there's sugar, and there's flour.
Okay. All right.
So-
nothing particularly exotic, and yet it tastes really wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me.
Wonderful.
Nadia,
It was,
Auntie Sunny, Uncle
an
Chan.
it was
absolute
a
pleasure.
real pleasure.
It's been an
You know,
absolute
and
pleasure.
I am true. It's been a wonderful evening.
खिलाया इतना मजा नहीं आया है.
Uncle Charles, you came and you ate and you enjoyed the food and did not get flogged. So, you know, my food was as good tasting as it was good looking. So what more can I ask for?
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us, and thank you for joining us too, and see you again next week on A Taste of Fusion. Eid Mubarak from all of us.